When a great game is made, a sequel is to be expected by the fans. Well, Rocksteady started teasing a sequel to Arkham Asylum before the game's even released. In the Warden's office at Arkham Mansion, you have to spray all 3 charges of the explosive gel on this wall that has no real intention of being breakable. Detective mode doesn't even show it. Once the wall's blown up, you'll see a secret room that mainly features a map where Quincy Sharp seems to have a plan to expand Arkham Asylum. Well, it's been a while since my last Arkham review, so you're probably wondering, what happened? Well, let's run down the list. 1. School got a little overwhelming as it is my senior year and I had a lot of projects due. 2. I moved. 3. The hard drive I was using to store the sessions died. 4. There were some other games I wanted to play and relax. 5. My hard drive died. 6. Sonic Frontiers. 7. My hard drive died. And finally, Fire Emblem Engage. Anyway, it's time to talk about the second entry in the Arkham series. Arkham City. I remember seeing the teaser trailer for Arkham City, which was just some shots of the new Arkham that we'd be exploring, and something seriously wrong with the Joker. Okay, well, I mean, besides the thing, in terms of, him dying. Then more and more trailers started to roll out, and eventually in October of 2011, we got the game. And you will not believe me when I say that the praise for this game was insane. It won a lot of awards, hence why I have the Game of the Year edition. However, is Arkham City's praise accurate to this day, or after a little over 10 years, has its quality? Oh, who am I kidding? We all know that I absolutely love Arkham City, but why? Why do I think that this is the best in its series? Well, go in depth. Set some time after the events of Arkham Asylum, the former warden of the prison, Quincy Sharp, has become the mayor of Gotham City. Yeah, these morons let this guy become mayor. Now, depending on if you have the Catwoman DLC, which you should, the game starts with her stealing some loot from a vault that belongs to Two-Face. However, Catwoman is caught by Dent and ends up being captured. Cut to the actual game and we start with Bruce Wayne holding a press conference rallying against the idea of Arkham City. I guess I should explain what Arkham City is. Basically, what happened is that Sharp approved the expansion of Arkham Asylum, which will hold both Blackgate prisoners and inmates from the former asylum. And yes, this includes all of the major supervillains. What could possibly go wrong? The warden of Arkham City, Hugo Strange, however, is also locking up anyone who goes against the idea of Arkham City and has evidence against him, hence the various political prisoners. This also includes Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is captured and put in Arkham City while also discovering that Strange knows that he is Batman. But for some reason, Strange reveals that something called Protocol 10 is ready and that it'll be his legacy. Finally, Strange lets Bruce out into Arkham City. Yeah, let me get this out of the way. First, this is technically the first time Strange and Bruce meet in the Arkham series, even though there is a character bio for Strange in Arkham Asylum, so what's going on here? Also the fact that, I don't know, he releases Bruce Wayne into the giant prison with little to no supervision even though he knows he's Batman. Seriously, you know he's Batman, meaning that he'll somehow get his suit and basically wreck everything. But no, let him loose in Arkham City, I'm sure he'll be fine. Also, Strange literally does nothing with the knowledge of Batman's identity, which kind of frustrates me. There is a scene at the very end where he threatens Batman on the climb through Wonder Tower, but this is a very meaningless threat. Every time I look at this guy's face on the screen, the sentence, "I'm a moron," appears on his forehead to me. Okay, after that, once Bruce is let out into the prison, he's taken by the Penguin, who really just wants some good old-fashioned revenge. Bruce quickly takes out his thugs and manages to get out of his handcuffs. Once he contacts Alfred, he gets his bat suit, and now the prison is open to explore. However, Batman first hacks into Tigress's communications and discovers that Catwoman is being held by Two-Face. Batman suspects that Catwoman might know what's going on in Arkham City, so he makes his way to the courthouse to save her. Once Batman saves Catwoman from Two-Face, she says that she's never heard of Protocol 10, and that Strange has supposedly been working with the Joker and is planning something for Batman. However, this conversation is cut short powered by a sniper shot from our favorite clown, the Joker. Batman follows the bullet's trajectory to a nearby church and has a quick encounter with Harley Quinn. Quinn hints that Joker may not be doing so well as she's rounding up doctors to help fix him up. Joker then blows up the roof of the church, and Batman manages to track him down to the steel mill. Batman goes to the steel mill, and while saving the doctor that Joker captured, he manages to get to him, who just happened to die right when he got there. However, it was just a fake Joker, and Batman is knocked out by Harley Quinn's bat. Meanwhile, Catwoman decides to break into Strange's vault and get all the loot from it, so she decides to recruit Poison Ivy for help. However, Ivy is bitter towards the cat and ends up tying her up as well. Cut back to Batman's story where we finally see the Joker, who is seemingly seeing better days. Turns out the Joker is dying from an unknown disease due to his injection of Titan from the last game. Batman at first doesn't care about the fact that Joker is dying, but it turns out Joker also poisoned Batman, infecting him with the disease as well. Along with this, Joker also sent his blood out to hospitals all over Gotham, which makes me think that Gotham really just deserves whatever's coming to it at this point. I mean, do you really believe that Gotham hospitals would just accept blood from what I would assume to be an anonymous source without testing it? And no, don't try to tell me that Joker had men on the inside or the disease doesn't show up on blood tests, because no one ever points that out, so I just think everyone in Gotham is stupid. Joker kicks Batman out of the steel mill and informs him that he had Mr. Freeze working on a cure. However, Freeze went dark on him. Turns out that Penguin actually captured the popsicle and is holding him hostage at the museum along with some undercover cops. Batman saves both Mr. Freeze and the cops and has a confrontation with the Penguin and Solomon Grundy, who's just here. After the battle, Freeze tells Batman that there is a cure for the disease, but it's very useless due to instability. However, the enzyme that's needed for the cure has been conveniently exposed to Ra's al Ghul's blood. Since Batman mentions Ra's, one of the assassins gives Batman a trail to his location under Arkham City. After finally experiencing some effects of the poison and a set of trials literally designed for him, Batman manages to reach Ra's, and after a quick boss battle because Batman legit lies to Talia about joining the League of Assassins, Batman manages to get a sample of Ra's blood. Afterwards, Batman warns Ra's to call off his crusade and stop using the Lazarus Pit, or he'll be back, but we all know he's not doing that. Batman eventually heads back to the GCPD, but first has to save Quincy Sharp because Strange had him arrested. Sharp reveals that Strange had powerful friends that took care of his campaign, and all Sharp had to do was turn a blind eye to Strange's experiments. Batman finally heads back to the GCPD to get the cure from Freeze, but Freeze refuses to give him the cure because Joker kidnapped Nora, Freeze's wife, and Batman doesn't know when to stop being a total jerkwad. Yeah, that's something about this plot that I have some issues with. Once Batman gets infected with the disease, he starts to act a little bit more aggressive than usual. For example, he nearly kills Freeze earlier in the game by taking this thing out of his chest, which I would assume is something that Freeze needs in order to live. I know that Batman's under pressure due to his imminent death, but for someone who has developed a physical and mental peak, you'd think he'd be able to handle this situation a lot better. Whatever, after the scuffle, Harley Quinn steals the last vial of the cure, and Batman has to make his way back to the steel mill. Once Batman gets back, he sees a fully healed Joker. Wow, that is the fastest working cure I've ever seen. I mean, he only had it for like, what, 10 minutes? Huh. Due to Joker's newfound health, he decides to challenge Batman to a fistfight, and yeah, it's just a combat gauntlet, but at the very end, the ceiling collapses, trapping Batman. Talia appears out of literally nowhere and offers Joker the key to immortality. Joker accepts this offer and leaves Batman to die under the rubble. Cut back to Catwoman, who manages to convince Ivy to help her get into Strange's vault. Yeah, I do want to mention that this does take place 6 hours later, meaning that Catwoman hangs upside down for probably the entirety of the story. Also even longer if you decide to go after all the side quests during the story. Anyway, Catwoman breaks into the vault, and as she makes her way out of the city, Protocol 10 starts, and she's given a choice. So, Catwoman leaves Batman to die, and that's the end of the game. Nah, I'm just kidding. Catwoman goes to save Batman, and Batman finally knows Protocol 10 is essentially a nuke of every prisoner in Arkham City with missile strikes and assaults from the Tiger helicopters. Batman manages to infiltrate Wonder Tower after a very climatic climb. Batman shuts down Protocol 10, revealing that Ra's al Ghul is the true mastermind behind Arkham City. Ra's stabs Strange, and as the Doctor dies, he activates Protocol 11, which is a self-destruct sequence for Wonder Tower. Batman jumps out of the explosion and escapes with no wounds. Ra's, on the other hand, not so much. Once the whole Protocol 10 situation ends, Batman is contacted by the Joker about threatening to kill Talia. Batman heads to the Monarch Theater to finally put an end to all this, and when Batman arrives, Joker demands the cure despite already having the cure, and Talia stabs Joker, and mysteriously, there's no blood. Huh. Once Talia stabs Joker and attempts to give Batman the cure, she's shot in the back by Joker, who looks even worse than last time we saw him. Turns out the Joker that was cured was actually Clayface, and this was actually a really cool reveal with some great foreshadowing if you paid enough attention, like the fact that Joker seems to be missing a skeleton. Weird. Anyway, after one last boss battle with Clayface and Batman becoming a Fire Emblem character, Batman takes the cure for himself. However, Joker tries to use the Lazarus Pit, but Batman destroys it. After Batman wakes up from the explosion, he debates giving Joker the cure, causing Joker to stab Batman in the shoulder, and as a result, the cure is dropped and shatters all over the floor. Batman admits to the dying clown that even after everything that's happened, he would have saved Joker. Joker laughs at this fact and finally dies in a sequence that, to this day, still sends chills down my spine. Batman takes Joker's body out of the prison and leaves the prison without saying a single word, ending the story of Batman Arkham City. Until after the credits when Catwoman has some stuff to resolve. Catwoman tries to get her loot back, but it turns out that Two-Face took it and split it among his crew, but that's purely a side quest. There is also the DLC campaign, Harley Quinn's Revenge. Harley Quinn takes over the Industrial District as a means to honor Joker. She traps Batman and attempts to kill him, but in short, it doesn't work out and she is defeated. Okay, that was a bit of a long one, but I think overall the story is excellent. It's certainly more of a larger scale than what Arkham Asylum had, but I actually loved the story. Despite some minor criticisms, I think this is a great Batman story. The twists were written really well, and I love the idea behind the Clayface reveal and how it took me a couple of playthroughs to notice all of the foreshadowing they had. However, I do wish for a little bit more with Hugo Strange. Again, he has Batman's identity, but he never does anything with it. Whatever. Anyway, Arkham City improved on the story, but did it improve on the gameplay? Spoiler alert, yes. Like Arkham Asylum, Arkham City features free-flow combat and stealth sections. I won't go in depth with the aspects of both sections that were already there in the previous game, but there was a lot changed with both in terms of gameplay. Starting with combat, everything was improved in terms of Batman's mobility. Batman can basically zip around the area in an attempt to punch a thug that's still standing. Along with this, Batman's abilities have been increased by a substantial margin. The first thing is that Batman can now counter multiple thugs at once. If multiple thugs try to attack you all at once, just press the counter button corresponding to the number attacking, and Batman will deal with them accordingly. Batman's cape stun has also been improved to where now he can enter a beatdown mode when an enemy is stunned by it, or he can use the cape stun 3 times and instantly put them on the ground, leaving them ready for a ground takedown. Also, many gadgets were given a quickfire button to make gadget use in combat a little more practical. For example, when you use the Batclaw in Arkham Asylum, you just pulled the enemy towards you, which was pretty nice, but not very useful if you were too far away. However, Arkham City, you can use it for the same purpose, or you can do the Batclaw slam to do a little extra damage. Arkham City does a great job in taking everything that worked in Arkham Asylum and improving it. In the last review, I mentioned that this game and Arkham Knight spoiled me, and it's clear as day. I absolutely love Arkham City's combat, as it always feels like I'm experimenting with the gadgets and combo moves, and in this game, you'll need to start doing that because with new combat comes new thugs to deal with. Just like Arkham Asylum, you'll deal with thugs that try to punch Batman, but in this game, most of the thugs are smart enough to try to pick up a melee weapon to use, such as pipes or bats. However, thugs can also try to throw projectiles at you, and all you have to do is counter them at the right time, or if it's explosive, throw a batarang at it. Thugs can also wield knives once again, but you no longer have to use the cape stun to attack them. Just simply hold the counter button and hold backward on the analog stick to dodge them, or if you can, mash the timing and use the blade dodge takedown. Thugs can use stun sticks once again, and you deal with them just like last time. Thugs can use riot shields to protect themselves from the front, but all you have to do is use an air attack to get rid of the shield. Thugs can use body armor, which you just use the beatdown move I mentioned earlier, and of course thugs can use guns, and this time it happens much more often, and with Batman's new speed, it's much easier to manage them. Yeah, there are a lot of threats in this game, but just like last time, it's up to the player to chain together basic attacks, takedown moves, and gadgets effectively to take them down, and in this game, the payoff for varying your actions is pretty abundant. Just like Arkham Asylum, there will be times where Batman has to silently take out thugs with guns, and once again, combat is discouraged, but just like combat, when Batman improves, so do the thugs somewhat. First things first, as thugs become much more aware of your tactics depending on your actions. Almost all of them are smart enough to check gargoyles and even shoot them down if they know you're using them as a means to escape. Thugs can also place proximity mines as a means to limit where you can take them down. Thugs can also jam your detective mode, meaning that you won't be able to see anything until you take them out, and this time around, if possible, thugs will take hostages, and if you get spotted by them, they will kill them, causing a game over. Yeah, the stealth sections are pretty wild this time around, but just like combat, it's greatly improved in this game. Batman can do a lot this time, such as taking down thugs from behind weak walls and using the knockout smash to speed up silent takedowns, but it does reveal your location, and with some gadgets you get later in the game, you can use them in stealth sections for even more fun. Speaking of the gadgets, let's once again talk about the types of gadgets in this game that Batman can obtain. Like Arkham Asylum, you can get upgrade points to purchase more takedown moves, health, or stealth upgrades from Wayne Tech. Yeah, still not getting over the fact that he has to buy upgrades from a company he owns. In terms of gadgets, Batman starts off with just about every gadget he had back in Arkham Asylum. The explosive gel, the Batclaw, the cryptographic sequencer. The only gadget you don't start off with is the line launcher, which you get pretty much later anyway. Also, the Ultra Batclaw doesn't appear in this game, but I'm not going to lose sleep over that. All of the old gadgets had some minor tweaks to make them even better in both exploration and combat. I already mentioned the Batclaw slam for the Batclaw, but the line launcher can be launched once again while still on it, and with the right upgrades, Batman can walk on it like a tightrope. However, with the sequel comes new gadgets. First off is the smoke pellet, an outright staple of the Batman. You can use it when you get spotted spotted by thugs with guns to get away, or you can use it to disorient your foes at any time. After you save the doctor in the steel mill, Batman takes out this thing and wait, okay, what? Look, I know Batman's belt is the most overpowered thing ever, but where did he pull that thing out of? Oh, it sends out electrical charges to power generators and open doors. Oh, it also stuns enemies. Huh, okay then. Kind of reminds me of Batman Forever, though. Okay, after defeating Freeze, he gives Batman the Freeze Blast, or as I like to call it, the Freeze Grenade. Batman can use it to create ice platforms on water or freeze thugs, making them much easier for takedowns. Pretty cool. And finally, there is the Disruptor, which starts off as a story-exclusive gadget, but once you get the right upgrades, you can use it to disable a thug's gun and detonate mines from a distance. You only have 2 charges before a lengthy recharge period, so be warned about that. Now let's talk about the exploration of Arkham City. Arkham City is about double the size of Arkham Asylum, with a pretty large overworld and a few interior areas. First, there's Park Row, where Two-Face's crew resides. Then there's the Bowery, where Penguin's thugs have taken up shop. In this area, you can access the museum, which is Penguin's fortress. There's the amusement mile, which can be considered the open area, where no one supervillain has complete control. Then there's the industrial district, where Joker's crew have taken up shop, and where the steel mill is. There's also the subway area that leads to Wonder City, and yeah, there is a bit of exploring to do in this game. Just like Arkham Asylum, Batman can use his detective mode to scan areas around him and learn about the environments, but this time around, I feel like you don't need to use it as much, so enjoy looking at the graphics of Arkham City. With a new map to play around in comes more things to do, such as dealing with this game's few side quests. Arkham City features a few supervillains that are purely side quests and don't really mean anything in the overall plot, but do tease potential plot lines for the future. First, a few quests require just traveling to a particular area and then you'll get an upgrade. This includes Remote Hideaway, which is just a mine detonator for the Disruptor, and Hot and Cold, which is just giving you the Freeze Cluster Grenade, which is just an enhanced freeze blast. The AR training quest also has 2 sets. The first set is a simple tutorial that rewards you with the grapple boost, which allows you to boost when grappling. It has to be at a certain distance, so be aware of that, but it is fun zipping around the city with it. Whee! The second set of these challenges are more advanced gliding challenges that test your ability to glide in some tight environments, so it may take a few attempts. Also, there's the Acts of Violence missions where randomly a thug will try to assault a political prisoner and you have to stop it. It's completely random on when they pop up, so just glide around and you'll eventually hear it. Now let's actually get into the supervillain. First, there's Fragile Alliance with Bane. Guess Bane isn't that bitter about us hitting him with the car, because Bane contracts Batman to help destroy some Titan containers that Joker managed to get off of Arkham Asylum. And of course, it turns out that Bane has ulterior motives and is taken down by the help of a security gate that he can clearly break out of. Though I do like the idea of the team up for the two. Next we have Cold Call Killer with Victor Zsasz. Zsasz will randomly call a payphone in Arkham City, and when you answer, you have a time limit to reach another payphone before he kills his hostages. Once you reach the phone, you have to track his location by tracing the phone call while acting like his therapist. Then there's Heart of Ice, where you have to find Nora and inform Mr. Freeze of her location. Then there's Identity Theft, where it's a serial killer taking the faces of the victims and leaving the bodies all over Arkham City. Batman discovers that the killer looks a lot like Bruce Wayne, and yeah. In the end, we find out who the killer is, and it's just really a tease for the next game in the series. Then there's Shot in the Dark, which is just following the trajectories of shots made by Deadshot, and eventually taking him down. Then there's the Tea Party, which is where we just beat the ever-living crap out of Mad Hatter. Then there's Watcher in the Wings, which is just scanning some symbols and getting another tease of what's coming in the Arkham series. Yeah, most of the side quests are relatively straightforward. Most of them just require going to particular locations and just doing stuff. Then inevitably Batman beats them up for one reason or another, or they just monologue about something. However, there's one side quest I haven't really brought up yet, and it's because it's the biggest one of them all. The Riddler has returned, and this time he has beefed everything up with more riddles and Riddler trophies to find, physical challenges to complete, and this time around, he's also taken a bunch of hostages, and you can only save them once you have enough riddles found. The reward for doing all of Riddler's challenge this time is experience, maps in the challenge mode, and punching him right in the face! Yeah, there are 400 collectibles for Batman to find, but don't think you have to rely on the internet this time to find them. Spread out through Arkham City are some thugs that actually work for Riddler, and if you interrogate them, they'll reveal a location of riddles. Also, you can just scan Riddler trophies to mark them on your map if you don't have the proper means to get them this time. Overall, all of the side quests are fine. None of them really frustrated me in terms of completion, and they don't feel too tedious. Except for Zsasz. I think I've memorized what he says in every phone call at this point in my life. Now, there is a bit of an elephant in the room that I failed to mention, and that's in the form of Catwoman. Catwoman was DLC for Arkham City, but she's playable in the main story. In terms of what she can do, she's just a more agile Batman with fewer gadgets. Her side quest is pretty simple. It's just beating up Two-Face thugs with a diamond over their head to get her loot back, and then she has 40 Riddler trophies to collect, but they're all simply just getting to them, and there's not really a reward for getting them all. My only gripe with Catwoman is her traversal. Unlike Batman, she can't glide through the rooftops to get from point A to point B really quickly. She jumps from rooftop to rooftop with a set of QuickTime events that pop up. It just feels significantly slower, and that's really all it is to me. Like Arkham Asylum, Batman will face a few villains and boss fights, and I'm happy to report that there was a significant improvement in the boss fight department. My god, these boss fights are much better and more climatic. I can't even describe how much fun I have with them. Special mention to Mr. Freeze, where you can't use the same tactic twice to damage him. Such a great fight. Unfortunately, there are no Scarecrow sequences, but there is the Ra's al Ghul fight. It's actually pretty cool, but when he says you cannot beat us, I always think of that Nintendo commercial where all the major villains on the NES taunt you. Now on to additional content. Like the last game, challenge mode is here in the form of Riddler's Revenge. Like the previous game, you can play the maps as much as you want, and depending on your performance, you get medals. However, Arkham City spices things up a little bit by introducing small campaign challenges, which is just a set of 3 maps you have to complete, and it all has its own medal count. Also, Arkham City allows you to add various modifiers to challenge mode, such as an aura that makes a thug invulnerable for a short time, or gargoyles will have mines on them, or even starting off with less health. Also, if you have the DLC or the Game of the Year edition, you can play as Catwoman, Robin, and Nightwing in challenge mode, and yeah, it's pretty standard. I already mentioned Catwoman, and Robin is basically Batman with a stick, and Nightwing is, I don't know, I never really bothered to play challenge mode with him except for this video. He's kind of fun though, I will admit. Also in the realm of additional content is the additional costumes for Batman. I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff, and Arkham City doesn't really disappoint. Again, if you have the DLC or Game of the Year edition, you gain access to a few costumes that the heroes can wear in-game. Batman obviously has the most, but my favorite is the animated skin, the Batman Beyond costume, and the 1970s skin with the blue cowl and cape. To gain access to the costumes, you have to beat the main story, or you can enter left, left, down, down, left, left, right, up, down on the main menu screen, and you'll access them early. In the Return to Arkham remaster, you gain access to the costumes right after starting the game. And finally, Batman Arkham City introduces New Game Plus to the Arkham series. In New Game Plus, you keep all of your upgrades and Riddler trophies, somehow, but you'll need them as thugs are more aggressive and you'll encounter late game enemies much earlier, and there are no counter prompts. New Game Plus though is pretty fun. I love to speedrun it, and with all of the upgrades, I like to experiment with new ways of taking out thugs in early game sections. Also, Arkham City got a remaster for PS4 back in 2016. I mentioned it back in the Arkham Asylum review, but I'll be quick about this. Return to Arkham City brings smoother frame rates, supposedly enhanced graphics, and all of the DLC bundled. However, I'm gonna be blunt, not a big fan of this remaster. This might be because I'm so used to the PC version that's much smoother, but I also ran into a couple of glitches like Catwoman T-posing for a split second there, and I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to start side quests during Protocol 10. I do like how the remaster looks, but besides that, I'm probably just going to go to the PC version when it comes to playing Arkham City. Guess that's a good way to bring up the graphics. Of course I have to praise the graphics for this game. I mean, this game is absolutely gorgeous. For note, I played on the PC with some pretty high settings and I had a pretty smooth frame rate. Now, I don't know if this was just because I was recording or not, but I did have some graphical pop in that just kind of went away within seconds and only really happened towards the beginning of sessions for me. For bugs and glitches, I'm happy to report that I didn't really run into anything too crazy except for whatever this is. And I've had times where the game just crashes and I don't know why. I think it was my PC. In terms of soundtrack, are you kidding me? This is honestly my favorite soundtrack in the Arkham series. Every theme is wonderfully composed and the scale of the music went up with the game, and I love that. You know what you're in for when you hear the main theme on the title screen, and the rest of the soundtrack is just as grand. Special mention of the songs I Think You Should Do As He Says and How Does It Feel Pig. The voice acting is just as great, if not better, than back in Arkham Asylum. Kevin Conroy, may he rest in peace, and Mark Hamill reprise their roles, and they are just as great as before. However, Harley Quinn is now voiced by Tara Strong, and she's great. However, all I hear is Timmy Turner sometimes, but that's just me. Corey Burton is great as Hugo Strange. Seriously, he's just great at voicing villains. First Count Dooku, and now Hugo Strange. Overall, Arkham City is one of the best superhero titles I have ever played, and I don't think anything can ever dethrone it, unless Marvel's Spider-Man 2 knocks it out of the park. I've played this game more times than I can count, and I can never get tired of revisiting it. I've practically memorized where and how to get every single Riddler trophy, and I still feel like I'm learning new strategies for combat and stealth sections. Or the fact that I can use the Disruptor on Tiger helicopters during Protocol 10. Seriously, I never thought to do that. If you haven't played Arkham City, what's the matter with you? Arkham City is more than worth your time, and you don't need to be a fan of Batman to enjoy it. You can get Arkham City for the PS3, Xbox 360, and PC, but of course I'd aim for the Game of the Year edition, which honestly isn't that hard to get. Also, the PS4 and Xbox One remasters come with Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, so if you don't mind the issues I mentioned earlier, then get the remaster. However, personally, I recommend the PC version. And that's it. Arkham City. Oh, okay, cool. Hey, it's the future, Caleb. I just wanted to let you know that you forgot to discuss a version of Arkham City. What? I don't... Are you talking about the Wii U version? Dude, just talk about it. Alright, fine. So, Arkham City was re-released for the Wii U, labeled Arkham City Armored Edition. I'll be quick with this because I don't have any footage of it since I don't own it, but I do remember what it plays like because I did own it at some point. Armored Edition is the exact same game with all of the DLC bundled, but it does some Nintendo gimmick interfacing. You can use the Wii U gamepad to use gadgets and stuff like that, or as a map of the overworld. Also, there's the BAT system, which is a combat mode where when you activate it after a bit in combat, the character you're playing as will do a little extra damage, making the combat even easier. It's cool and all, but Armored Edition is such a meh thing to appeal to Wii U owners. I honestly don't understand why the BAT system was Wii U exclusive, but again, it doesn't really matter to me. From what I remember, the enemies did take some more damage as a result of the BAT system, so assuming you have one of those glorified doorstops, you can get Arkham City Armored Edition for the Wii U if you're that desperate to play Arkham City. Happy? Sort of. Have fun on Arkham Origins, by the way. Anyway, and that's it. Arkham City is a wonderful sequel to an already great game. However, this has to be asked, how do you top something this good? Well, Rocksteady won't be the ones responsible for the next title I'll be covering, because the next time we meet, we'll continue the Arkhamathon with Batman Arkham Origins. Really hope you enjoyed this review, and if you haven't already, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Also watch the Arkham City Let's Play I did as I ignored the plot for the regular trophies, and there's also the Sonic Heroes Let's Play and the God of War Let's Play that I just finished. Anyway, have a fantastic night, and take care.
Hey, this is future Caleb from right before this video was finished editing and actually uploaded. I know I said that I was going to continue the Arkhamathon with Arkham Origins. Bit of a slight change of plans. One, Arkhamthon's over. I'm not going to do Arkham Origins so soon, but I will get to Arkham Origins eventually, and then inevitably Arkham Knight. But the thing is at the time of this recording specifically, I know I'm wearing the same exact shirt that I wear in the video, but at the time of this recording, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is almost out, and I kind of want to prioritize getting to that as soon as possible. So once this is uploaded and ready, Jedi Survivor is going to be the next review, because yeah, Jedi Survivor is, top priority, especially considering that I actually really loved how the Jedi Fallen Order review came out. So yeah, see you guys next time for that review, unless I do like a small review in between then and now. So see you guys next time, and really take care.